Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast, powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. Check out Game7Baseball.com. Get your schedule prepared. The tournaments are there, man. All you got to do is go check it out. Winter Workout Tour coming up. Great stuff. Right behind, on this side. Yep, that's the side right over there. Dad's Coaching Clinic. Make sure you sign up. We'll have those links in the description below from the show today. We do appreciate it. Check it out. Got some great stuff coming up there. Coaches Mason Horn from CBC, Tony Perkins, Francis Howell, Tim Canavan, DeSmet Jesuit, Darren Sissel from Francis Howell. We got Kevin Mulder, Prep Baseball Report, former Division I head coach. We're talking about developing a coaching structure, developing a practice plan. I'm going too fast, Lauren. The nuts and bolts of practice drills. There's some great stuff in here. We'll be enjoying the day. 2 dates, December 9th, December 16th. You can see it here on the screen. Click on the link below. Sign up. Get ready for a great opportunity to learn about coaching. We'll see you at the end of the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for this edition of YBMcast, Baseball Talk, powered by Game 7 Baseball, Game7Baseball.com. You guys doing the Midland Invitational this year?
We are, yeah.
Sweet.
I think this is our third year.
I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, it's Mother's Day
We do
weekend.
it Mother's Day weekend, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That was a good one last year. It got rained out, though. I think, didn't it? It didn't. Or no, we played through on that.
I think they got through.
I think some of the age groups
locations got through. I think BMAC got hammered.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think we ended up out at CNH. I think they played a little bit out there. Yeah. Rain was a factor, through the weekends. It was difficult last year.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. You have certain years it'll rain during the week. Mm-hmm. Not on the weekends, and certain years it rains only on the weekends and not during the week. And last year was weekend only.
That's the truth, man. That is just the truth. And, the Midland Invitational was fun, but this year, just an FYI, Game 7 Baseball, New Warrenton Complex, all turf fields, got some great stuff going on with these guys. We're going to have Dave Penning on next week talking about some of this stuff. Game7Baseball.com. All the tournaments are up for Missouri. I believe Illinois is there. Tennessee is there. I think they're still waiting on some Kentucky stuff, but go check it out. I remember, Matt, you've been around long enough to we were setting our schedules in January. Because stuff wasn't coming out until then.
Right. Yeah. Now they have to get it out early.
Boy, that ain't no lie. Right?
So,
and they do a great job. It's already here. It's November 1st. Schedules are up. You can go check it out. Game7Baseball.com. They do it right. We're looking forward to another fun season. Winter Workout Tour. We're heading to Nashville this year.
Ooh, there you go.
We're heading over to Kansas City. And then we're going down to Lake of the Ozarks with Game 7 Baseball for our Winter Workout Tour.
Who's in Nashville?
We're going down to.
Or can you not say that yet?
We're still working on a couple of clubs. I think Dave is getting that. We're going to go in and see a couple of clubs, but we're also going to visit with Jody Witt, who's the director of the Tennessee Game 7 tournaments down in that area. And we're just going to have some fun, talk to some different people, see what they do. And we are working on. I think they've got one. We're working on a couple of clubs, getting in and saying howdy, seeing those. We're in Kansas City. We're going to be at Mac and Sights.
Yeah.
And Inside Edge.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to those. And then we're going to be down at LOZ Training in Lake of the Ozarks. I guess the gentleman there, he's also one of the directors there at the Ballparks National as well. And he runs that program down there. So
nice.
We got some cool stuff.
You're getting all over.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
Hey,
could be worse,
listen,
right?
And just to my right here, Matt Shadow, Midland Baseball. Matt came to me. We'd done some stuff together. We'd done some player spotlights, but it's been a few years, right after COVID.
Right.
Really kind of just was booming. And Matt said, hey, you might let me come on the show. We'll chat up some baseball. I want to talk about it. I said, let's do it. And he started coming on doing it. Now he's too busy. But
I come on during the season, during the high school season.
He was, but a catalyst in what we have, and I'm very appreciative because he introduced me to Kevin Mulder, who has been a great participant in youth baseball Midwest. So I'm forever grateful to Mr. Shadow here for the help.
You've done a great job.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, you do all the work. I just show up.
Oh no, it's fun. And so we got Mr. Shadow on today. We're gonna talk just all kinds of different topics. We're gonna start here though with Midland Baseball. His group is growing. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. We're gonna talk about the subject. I think that we've been dealing with for a while. AA, AAA, all in youth baseball. Because once you get to high school, forget all that stuff.
Right.
But single A, double A, triple A, where does that sit? Are you a major team? I think there are very few major teams, personally.
I would agree with you.
And so we're going to get into some of these. We'll talk some NIL. We're going to talk a little bit just what's going on around the area here. So let's start. When you first took over, you had, of course, Cincinnati was the main hub. You had the Bandits were there. They became the Midland Bandits. You added Texas not too long after that, but you've been busy since, haven't you?
Yeah, so Cincinnati is the hub. That's the kind of that's headquarters, so to speak. We have fields there. The main field's getting turfed right now. The stadium field, that's getting turfed right now. And then we have another 60-90 field. And then we have a youth field, and then we have a small indoor. And the indoor got turned into a weight room, so half of it's a weight room. The garage is now a weight room. So, which is actually, we cleaned it out, turfed it, so it's nice. And then in that same region, we are in the Dayton area. You go south, northern Kentucky, and then Nashville, Gainesville, Florida, St. Louis, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas area, and there's some other locations that are we've been in talks to. One that's done that's going to happen is Puerto Rico.
Wow!
So we'll be in Puerto Rico.
That's cool.
And for us, it's not. We're not. Hey, we have one team in this location. Like we have real clubs in these locations. So. That's for me, for what we do personally, that's what I want. And I don't want just, hey, my kid has a team. Can we be Midland and you're in Northern California?
Right.
I mean, yeah, you can, but it does. I mean, I don't understand what you're going to get out of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
That would be my take to you. So, but yeah, those are the locations. It's everybody's got their model, so to speak, on how they do it, what they do. To me, there's no right or wrong. It's just
what you choose to do, right?
It's whatever you choose to do.
I agree. I like your question.
It's Pepsi or Coke. I mean, come on, what do you want?
I liked your question though. What does it benefit you? You're thinking about the person running the team. What does it benefit you? I mean, I agree with that because I think that's the way it should be, Matt. With a club, sure, you've got to have the financial stability to have the opportunities with all these things. And that's a given. And I don't even, but then the benefits of what is it doing for the player? Where are you working out? What's going on? So why would you put Midland on your jersey if you were in Portland, Maine?
Yeah. I mean, so let's take Maine. Take Maine, for example, which I don't know anybody in Maine. So it's a good state to go with right now. If you're in Maine and you have a club and you said, hey, I want to be a part of Midland, and my thing to them would be, okay, you can send your better kids with our regional teams, national teams. So you don't have to take an entire team to Atlanta and for 2 kids, right? So let's say you're going to Atlanta for PG's World Wood Bat. You're going to take it, and there's a lot of teams that do this, that go to this event. You're taking 12, 15 kids to a 7-day event. You need 25 kids for a 7-day event.
Yeah.
And after day 1, when you have to use your best 2 arms in the one game, what do you do the rest of the week? So the point is, somebody like from out of Maine, they can send their best 2 kids and just play regionally, because the other kids are going to go to school probably in the Northeast somewhere.
Right.
And if they're not going to go to the Northeast, they're going to some random school in Indiana or Tennessee or Missouri based on academics. And it's going to probably be an NAIA or a D3 school anyway. But those top kids can then go get seen and say, hey, I mean, we had a kid from Delaware this all summer, and he's going to Mo State. But he deserved to be on the team.
Right.
So, but his team didn't go south. And they're not a part of Midland, but he wanted to go experience this. And that's how a lot of these kids are up in the north.
Okay. So I think this is where we've had this conversation quite a bit with different people, but you're in the middle of this. And I talk about the state of Missouri, you have Illinois close, and I'm sure it's like this all over Arkansas in the Midwest. It's not different, I would imagine. And we have all these different clubs, but I don't think all clubs are set up the same way.
Correct, they're not.
And then you have teams. What is the difference between a true national team and a team that just has the national name behind it in a basic club?
Right. So if you get we'll take a St. Louis team that puts national on their team name.
Sure.
Their argument is, well, we're playing national events, so we're a national team, which is fine. Do what you want. I don't care what you do.
Sure.
My take on national team is you got kids from all over the country. Like, that's a true national team. Now you can take, let's take the team out of Orlando, Power Baseball. They won this past summer the 17U World Wood Bat. Team's loaded. That's a team we lost to in the final 8 to this team, and they ended up winning it. And I think we lost 6-3, 6-2, 4, something like that. I don't remember the score, but that team didn't have national in the name. But most of those kids are from Orlando area. But you're talking about Florida, right? It's a different ball game down there.
Right.
It's not, hey, I've got the team from, I don't have the St. Louis Cubs here in town where we're just all local kids going and winning a 420 team tournament in Atlanta. You can, and there's teams in the past. I know, like the Pirates had some really good teams in the past. I don't know if you remember them back in, I think it was 2008, where they competed. They finished top 8, top 9, which is what we did this summer. But we had kids from everywhere. Our core group of kids were from Texas. I mean, we probably had 9 kids from Texas.
Wow. But
from the same region of Texas. So, if anything, we were a Texas team more than anything else. Gotcha. But to me, national is you have kids from all over. Now, any team can win any event. That's just how it is. Mm-hmm. But the South teams, they normally, they'll put national on it if they have a bunch of kids. Otherwise, they just say, this is who we are, because you can pull 20 Power 5 D1 dudes out of Orlando.
Right.
And probably make 3 teams.
Right. Let's talk a little bit. You'd mentioned you saw Brady Kellenbrink.
Yeah, Kellenbrink.
Recently.
I saw him in Jupiter for the WWA Worlds. Yeah, he threw against us.
And he's going to LSU. He's, was it Parkway South? Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
he's real.
That's legit, right?
He's real. Mm-hmm.
Where do you see, so we're talking on a national level like this. Let's just start here at this, because there's a difference when you start looking at this. And I think Missouri's kind of starting to press themselves into a little bit more of the national stage. Would you agree?
I think everywhere is pushing themselves.
Really?
In a national stage. I think the hard part is for most of the big events are Southeast. That's just where it is. So the Georgias, the Floridas, the Bamas, the Mississippis, the Louisianas, you get those, even Tennessee at this point. Those areas are where people kind of funnel for kids because that's where people go to play big events, for one. But there's so many kids there. So the Midwest and the West Side almost get overlooked because they only come to the Southeast once or twice a year because they don't have to leave, right? So a Southern California team, like you take Garcia Parra Group, they don't need to leave Southern California. I mean, they may go to Arizona.
Right.
But they don't. I mean, even you get the teams into Houston, a lot of them don't leave until Jupiter event. Like we only see them in Jupiter.
And a lot of the teams that are coming down into that southeastern portion are from the Northwest and the Midwest and Great Plains because they don't have those bigger tournaments to get seen in that respect. Is that true?
Yeah. But a lot of Missouri kids would jump on a national team, like what Kellenbrink did. Mm-hmm. He jumped on a national team because their local team probably doesn't get invited to it because some of these that one specifically was an invite only. Or, hey, I'm playing on my local team through the summer, but once we get to the end, I'm going to play with you guys in these big events. That happens a lot. And you start to see some of the other national clubs start to move into the St. Louis area. It's only a matter of time before it happens. But with the kids specifically, if you're good enough to be on a team like that, I don't care if you're committed or not, you should go. You should be there.
Why?
Because you need to face the best dudes you can face. Mm-hmm. Let's take Kellenbrink. Kellenbrink will mow down 99% of the kids in this area.
I believe that.
He's 90-93 from the left side, and it's easy. It's smooth. And he can spin it. Like he's a real lefty. His name needs to get national recognition for pro scouts. That's his thing. Yes, he's going to LSU, but he needs to get national recognition. He needs to play against the best. LSU guys are going to say, "How are you getting better just pounding everybody in town?"
Right.
You may face Trey Schneider 3 times all summer.
Right.
That's if you throw against the team that he's playing on, if you're even in the same event. Otherwise, you're facing a bunch of D3 and AIA, JUCO. I'm not saying that JUCO's bad because JUCO's got a lot of Power 5 D1 talent. But that's what you face. You may get 2 dudes that are Power 5 out of the 10 and 9 that hit. Plus, whoever is his representative is going to tell him, you got to be there because I've got 7, 8, 9 pro scouts watching you. You've got to be on the radar. You've got to be in these events.
Interesting.
If you're that good.
And
there's a lot of kids on this Missouri list who are really good players. And there's some that we talked about off air, like a Micah Henson who's going to K-State, Raymore. He's a lefty. He's really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Well, and you look at what Titus Sissel and you mentioned Trey Schneider. They were both playing on that same Royal Scout team.
Yes.
All summer.
Mm-hmm.
Going and putting themselves in that place. Similar thought process.
Yeah, the Royal Scout team is a little different in how they do some of their stuff. But, again, when you have the Royals behind it, it's
what it's built for, right?
Correct. And they're mostly a regional team because they're mainly around the area. But the kids who can go do it should go do it. It's kind of like in soccer. If your kid is good enough in high school to play on an MLS team, you let them do it because soccer's got different rules.
Right.
It's happening now. There's a kid at Pattonville playing on an MLS soccer team who's in high school. You can take, or if you said, hey, let's say my son is good enough to play overseas for 3 weeks. And he wants to do it, I let him experience that. You find a way to make it happen for your kid to say, hey, man, like maybe this is something you can do for a living. You don't know.
Right.
So.
Well, then let's go here, because I think this is the one of the most interesting conversations in I think youth baseball personally. And Matt, you've seen a lot of different talent. You've seen, and I think that that's about 1% of baseball athletes probably in the country at that level. Then there's everybody else. And I think there's there is a lot of good baseball players that are going to go to mid-major schools. Mm-hmm. Look, one of the guys I saw this past year, he's throwing 93. He's a righty, of course. He doesn't have the lefty.
God-given left-handed.
But I saw Bogenpole pitch against CBC, and he is legit. He's at Mo State, considered a mid-major. But he's going to go. You have Jake McCutcheon there. Those are two names that I know of. That's a very Mo State's no joke.
Correct.
But that's the difference. Where's that line of delineation that we see, and what are parents looking for in this scenario?
When you have I'll give this scenario to you, because when you have, like, we played against the Louisiana Knights in the World Wood Bat, and they've got all Power 5 guys, big physical guys. LSU commits, Bama commits, and we have Texas Tech kids, Oklahoma kids, Wake Forest kids. When you have a kid who stands out on a field with that much talent, that's a legit player. So our shortstop this past summer, going to Wake Forest, he was actually a 25 playing up.
Oh, wow.
And he was better than everybody else. Hands down. Like, every game we play, hey, where's shortstop going? I just love watching your shortstop play. That's the kicker, is he's better than everybody else on a field with Power 5 kids on both sides of the diamond. That kid is better. That kid's different. And the hard part is, being in town, you take the kids going to Mo State or the kids going to Mizzou. I'm not saying they're not good.
Right, I get it. I understand.
But if you put them on a team with kids that are just as good as them, they just kind of fill in, right? It's just like, hey, here's another really good player. Mm-hmm. But this kid's a great player.
And see, I love that analogy, because to me, I've been watching the state tournament now. We go down, watch. Yeah. When Jake McCutcheon, he's undersized for the type of player he is. I don't think people know that he hit in a very difficult conference. They play the toughest competition. The guy hit 450 his senior season with, 8 home runs and 52 runs scored and like 58 RBIs. And then he goes in that tournament, his senior season, he hit the ball out of that park, U.S. Bank.
Mm-hmm. Which is a big park. Yeah.
You know as well.
Yeah.
Most people don't. When I say hit that ball out of the park, I only know of 2 other guys, and I've seen the only other one that do that I saw was Zanatello.
Yeah.
And then Jake McCutcheon. And Nazan was the 50th pick in the draft here recently, and then the other kid was Reese Robinette, who's going to Arkansas from Kennett.
Yeah.
That's 3 guys I know of.
Right.
And when you watch McCutcheon, it's one of those things where he is the best guy on the field when you watch. And I think this is true of any level. We were at the American Legion State Championships, okay? Sam Pauley, kid from Washington.
Okay.
Washington High School. He's going to State Fair Community College.
Mm-hmm.
At that event, and there was still some good players on those teams. I mean, there was guys, Tyler Bizzle was on that Festus team, is going to Missouri S&T. You have Nate Moore, who's at Jeffco, pitchers. These are guys that are they're legitimate Division II JUCO players, big arms and whatnot. Sam Pauley was head and shoulders above everybody else. You could just tell he was the best player in that tournament. And that's what's interesting at any level in that respect, correct?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that happens when you're 8, 9, 10 years old. I mean,
Right.
you see the best kid. It's different when they're 17 and you see the best kid, right? Or 18. Like,
There
this
you
is
go.
the best kid. And it's also different when you put it in perspective of where they are.
Right.
If you're playing, so let's take Perfect Games Jupiter World, WWE Worlds event. That's invite only. There's 3 qualifiers, maybe 4 now. 4 qualifiers to win, to get a bid to go. Other ones, it's invite only. Every kid on every team is legit. Every team, every kid. I mean, legit. Power 5 kids. Or going to McLennan JUCO, which might as well be a D1 program, right? Or they're getting drafted. So that event, when you put kids on the field at that event and they stand out, they're probably getting drafted in the first 2 rounds. Now, you take any kid off of any of those teams, any kid, and you put them at Francis Howell Central. They are head above shoulders than everybody else. I don't care who you are. Like, you take Kellen Brink. Kellen Brink is really, really good. But so were 25 other pitchers that were at that event.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
I mean, there was a kid out of Texas that I know personally, played for the Dallas Tigers. He was 98.
Jeez.
And he's not big. Like, he's not a big kid. Stocky, but not, you expect like a 6'7", 6'8" kid. No. I bet he was 5'11",
What?
6 foot, 98.
No way.
Now, you throw that kid here, I mean, he's a first rounder.
Yeah.
Anywhere he's a first rounder. But that's my point is, I mean, they're out there. And that event shows them. When you go to the World with Bat, the normal one with 420 teams, that's when you get the St. Louis Cubs national team to go. Mm-hmm. And you play them the first game, you better throw somebody because they're going to throw their guy, and their guy's going to be good, right?
Right.
But it's when you get past the first day, 2 days, who do you got left in the tank? Who do they have left in the tank? If you're a true national team, my first guy is going to be better than my third guy, but my third guy's still going to Oklahoma.
Right.
Your third guy's uncommitted or probably going to, no offense to any of these schools, but maybe Central Methodist or St. Charles Community College. There's a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and Central Methodist, to their credit, they're top
great.
25
100%.
NAIA school.
100%. We send kids there all the time. And
There's
they're great,
UCM.
but they're not a kid, especially now with the transfer portal, they're not Oklahoma.
So, and here's the thing, Matt, and I think this is where people get confused. We're talking a lot about this and this level, but you send kids there all the time. That's what you just said. Because they're good baseball players, and they may not have even developed to their full potential yet, correct?
Well, correct. And they still have an opportunity for a baseball life after college. So it's the same. I mean, it's the same for all sports. I mean, you read the stories of all the kids that take different routes to get to where they end up.
Yep.
So, I mean, kid could turn it on at there, like all of a sudden something clicks and he went from 88 to 95.
And I think it's interesting, and this is the difference, and I think these are the things to me that are the point of all this. When you talk about truly national, and you're looking at Power 5, are you a Power 5 baseball player? And how do you understand what a Power 5 baseball player is? Well, you can go to PBR and look up the top 25 players there and look at those kids going to Tennessee, Mizzou, Arkansas, whatnot. Do your metrics fit that? First and foremost, do your metrics fit that? That doesn't mean you're not a good baseball player, but and like you said, here's a kid 5'11" throwing 98. That doesn't happen very often.
No, neither one of that happens often.
And so I think that's a good tell. And as a parent, that doesn't mean you can't SEMO's program is doing pretty well down there. You have Missouri State, Lindenwood now, a Division I program. I think I'm sure I'm missing another one.
You want about D1 programs in the state?
Yeah.
SLU and Mizzou?
SLU and Mizzou. So five D1 programs.
Yeah.
Okay. They're not all Power 5, but SLU, you got to have some academic prowess to get into that school.
Right.
So that's just that. But you know how many good Division II schools there are in this state?
There's a ton. There's one of the top Division II teams in the country in Central Missouri.
Exactly. And I think that's where we get a little confused as to where do you go and play. So if you're looking at this, if this is where you're at and you haven't quite, you're continuing to develop and whatnot, how are you getting the looks from those schools?
That's local. I mean, that's regional stuff. That's camps. That's, hey, we're at this event, reaching out to the coach saying, hey, I'm interested in your school. You come out and watch me play. Coach making a phone call, which happens a lot on our end, especially right now. This is when all the kids go. Mm-hmm. All those kids. I mean, I think locally we've had, 10 kids in the last 3 weeks announce that they're committing. And then after this early signing period time, there'll be a break, and then January, February, you'll get another wave to go. But that's just how it is. And then the key is just get better. Get better, have fun, play the game, and you have to really enjoy doing this to continue to do it. And that goes for soccer, that goes for basketball, it goes for everything. Right? I mean, once you take it to the next level, you have to enjoy it. But they got to go to camps and reach out and let people know where they're at. It's not, if anybody tells you if you're good enough, someone's going to find you, you better be a first 2-rounder. You better be that damn good.
I agree.
Because I'm going to be honest with you, people that say that, it's, sorry my language, you can beat me out. But it is. And they're saying it because they're old school. Oh, this is how it is. It's not. That's not how it is. If they're good enough, you'll find you. Oh. Okay, so that means I'm throwing 95. I haven't done one PBR event. I haven't done one PG event. I haven't done any of that, right? So how are they going to find you? You're going to get some local guy because you play for the high school team and you're throwing really hard, and then somebody's going to make a call. But then you have like one school, 2 schools that want you, where if you actually went to a couple of these events, you could have a bunch of pro guys on you. You could have a bunch of Power 5 guys on you. Therefore, you get more money when you go to school, just more options, right? Like if you're the greatest architect in the world, but you don't tell anybody or go to any job interviews or show them your work, you could just be sitting here twiddling your thumbs.
It's true.
Right?
Right.
I mean,
why do certain people go to certain schools for certain, and I think that's, when you look at the job market and what do you want to be? I want to be an engineer. Well, there are certain schools that you want to go to.
Correct.
What's their placement percentage?
Put yourself in a situation to be as successful as you possibly can. It's kind of like as a coach, you put your kids in situations so they can be as successful as they can. Mm-hmm. But you also have to put yourself in a situation to be successful.
And I think especially if a student or a player who's not quite where they think they should be, and with the A+ programs that we have, I think JUCO is a huge stepping stone.
Yeah, there's great JUCOs here. Crowder's great. Jeffco, great. St. Louis Community College does a great job. St. Charles is getting, they had a couple really good years when they got their new coach, and there's really, really good players at the JUCO level. Really good.
Yeah.
I mean, McLennan in Texas can beat most D1s. I mean, their rotation was 95 plus. 5 dudes, 95 plus. I mean, that's real.
And when Jeffco was winning a lot early on, they had that. Crowder, same situation. And they're not losing by any means, but they had some serious dudes. And I think Zach Bone's he's coming back that way. You had Crowder, like you said, but then there's State Fair over in the Central
And you
Park
need help from the schools. I mean,
yes.
I get it, especially the JUCO level. But the JUCO, they got their own rules. They do whatever they want.
That's kind of true.
So,
and if you got an A+, if your grades are there and you got A+, and you can go and continue to work to get better.
yeah.
If you want to get to that other level, plus you could still even go to an NAI and then transfer the portals, everything. There's nothing that you can't do.
Yeah. Yeah. Portal's open.
And then, you know, I want to ask about this because you've probably got some kids that you've seen that are starting to do this. We have the name, image, and likeness stuff.
NIL.
NIL, and that's what it is, folks. Name, image, likeness. This is off the deal with Ed O'Bannon. I remember watching Ed O'Bannon play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yep. UCLA.
His brother was on that team, wasn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, there was two of them.
And but Ed sued for his, and this is where we're at. What do you see? I mean, you're dealing with kids that are at upper levels like this. Where do you see this, and how is this moving, and what direction is it going, and how is it changing the face of recruiting?
I think the big thing out of the gate is kids need to educate themselves on what the NIL is. That's the biggest misconception to me. I had a kid ask me, hey, can you get me NIL money? I mean, are you kidding me? Like, what? I don't have, that's way out of my control. So, and I've had other kids just not know what it is. Mm-hmm. You have to educate yourself on it. You can go online, you can find basic stuff. You go to NCAA's website, there's other different places that have it. Educate yourself on what NIL is first. Because any club coach that says they can get you NIL money is lying to your face because they can't control that. The school controls it. The coach controls it. That's the club may say, hey, he wants NIL money for him to be here. Great. But I'm not saying, hey, Arkansas, you need to give Brian French $100,000 in NIL money for him to come here. And they say, okay, great, cool. You want me to write the check? No, I don't work for the school. I don't have that power. No, they don't have the power. I mean, they can say, yeah, this is kind of what he wants, but either way. The NIL is great for the athlete because the school has been profiting off of them forever, right? The amount of money the schools make off of these kids is insane. But the kids also need to understand what it is, how they can make money, and just get to know the system. So the bigger schools like the LSUs, their pockets are deeper. They've got more people investing money into the programs, or not really investing money, they're donating money into the program. Sure. And with that, they can offer more money for kids based on whatever they're doing on their, hey, I'm going to make money from blogging
personal
appearances,
like that.
all
Sure.
that stuff, right?
Right.
It changes the game. I mean, there's kids that are going to make more money going to college than they probably will when they get out.
I've heard that.
I mean, it's true. But, hey, my thing, good for them. I don't think the NIL is the problem. I think the transfer portal is the problem. NIL is great. Each school is going to be different. I think the only downside is the LSUs, even maybe the Bamas. The strong get stronger.
Oh, that's usually the way it works.
I think that's what's going to happen because I think when you get like a Mo State, how are they going to compete with LSU in the baseball side?
Right.
I mean, they're just going to need to be well coached, have a really good team, have a really good year to, make their run and do their thing.
And is there NIL money to be made? What is that prospect for a player at a Mo State? Is it there? Is there the opportunities and things like that? And I think if you really are interested in that, you got to look into that, and I'm sure players are at that point, aren't they?
Yeah, and I don't know where Vanderbilt's at with this right now, but I know in the beginning they were not even given any money.
Really?
Now, that may have changed. Mm-hmm. Don't quote me on any of this, but I know how they felt at the beginning because they lost kids because other schools would say, hey, I'll give you, and they're like, look, we're not doing it. And they're good, but, I mean, they're not Florida, LSU good right now.
No.
But
no. And Mizzou,
I mean, play the game. You got to play the game. Adapt or die.
Opportunities.
For the kids, I think it's fantastic.
I do too.
I think it's great.
I have no problem with a player at that with those kids. You know, the old argument that the NC2A would throw out there when they're raking in billions of dollars. Well, we're giving them a free education. Yeah, and they're starving to death, for crying out loud.
And they're not going there for the education.
Most of those kids at that level.
No, they're going there to play football or basketball.
And the only true statement from an NC2A commercial I ever saw was, X amount of athletes are coming to college and they'll become pro in something other than the sport they play. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But many of those kids are not, because there's a separator, and that's why we call it FBS, FCS. And those kids at the smaller schools, even a D2, that will find their way into a free agent contract or something at the next level that you go, wow, how'd that guy get here? Well, it just worked hard.
Yeah, I mean, the people that really, really would benefit out of the free education is like if you're going for swimming.
Sure.
Or wrestling.
Yeah.
Those people, because you're not going to become a professional swimmer.
Unless you're that good to go to the Olympics.
And then you're making money off of yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
Advertising.
Yeah. So, but even those people, I mean, they can make money off NIL.
Sure. Absolutely.
And great for them.
Good for them. And I think that's the interesting part. If you're going to get your education and you're doing those things.
Yeah, but they're going for education to swim, go for free to get my education. If you're good enough to get NIL money and you're going to, I'll just stick with LSU, not to make anybody mad, and you're going to LSU, you're not going to LSU for the education. You're going to LSU because that's a springboard for the NFL. 100%. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know what their graduation rate is.
Yeah, and nobody cares. You know why? Because you win a national championship, it doesn't matter. And you're bringing money in for the school.
Yeah.
That's all they care about. Are you winning and bringing money in for the school? That's it. It's a business. It's a business. You're laughing because it's true, and I'm just saying it out loud.
Oh, mercy. Absolutely. I want to finish off the conversation because,
you got me going now.
You're fired up. You're coaching your boys 7 and 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're also coach of this high level whatnot. What are the things you're learning? Is it helping you at the higher levels to coach the young, or the vice versa?
I would say the biggest thing is there are a lot of crazy people at 7 and 8U. There's a lot of crazy coaches. There's a lot of crazy parents. It is.
Is the percentage growing?
Oh, my God. Maybe I just never experienced it, so it's like a shock to me. Or I think the big difference is I know what the end game looks like.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? I know what it looks like at 15, 16, and 17, and I know what good players, great players, average players, I know and where you have to go to get to that point. And being the greatest kid at 6, 7, 8, 9 doesn't mean you're the greatest kid at 16, 17, 18.
That's true.
It's the old thing, hey, my dad thinks I'm going pro next year, or I'm going to be the next Pujols. It's like, dude, you're 8, you're 7. Like, just because you're bigger than everybody else right now doesn't mean you're going to be bigger than everybody else down the road.
And your dad's 5'8".
Correct. But even nowadays, the big kids aren't the ones getting drafted. It's the athletic kids that are getting drafted.
Very
like
true.
The game has changed in what they're taking. So, I mean, look at first baseman. There's a lot of super athletic first basemen in the Major League Baseball right now. Yeah. I mean, look at Texas first baseman. I mean, dude, he could play third. I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
He's a legit defender. But my point is, you get these guys, and they're bad on the field of baseball, but then you see them coaching other sports, and they're just as bad. And I'm thinking, okay, you're up 100, right? Being sarcastic, but you're up a ton. Do you keep stealing? Do you keep doing this? Like, what are we gaining out of it? And what are you teaching the kids?
At that level, I think there has to be if you're in high school and they can't stop you, kid can't throw you out, I think you steal all day. But that's a whole different
when
level
you're up by
of
a certain
baseball.
amount, there's an unwritten rule like, hey, man, like, why we run up the score? Because
you
eventually
don't.
it's going to happen to you.
It's base to base. And
Correct.
if it happens to you, you take your butt whooping and go home.
But 7
I've
and
always
8,
believed that.
it's interesting. For me, that's the biggest take I get out of it is how crazy these people are. I had a situation where somebody in our club said, hey, I think you're playing somebody we know. And it was some fall league game, right?
Sure.
And they asked how good you were. And I said, yeah, I think they're a pretty decent, well-coached team. Like, that's what my coach said. And they beat us, and they screenshot the score and sent it to him. And his response was, cool, what am I supposed to do with this? And they said, oh, I just want to let you know that we beat your team that's supposed to be pretty good. He goes, it's fall ball and they're 8. That was his response. And they didn't respond. But that's a great response.
It is.
It's fall baseball, for one, and they're 8 years old. It's not like the Cardinals just beat the Cubs in a 2 out of 3 at Wrigley.
We're
right?
messed up. We're messed up, dude.
But it's the parents. I'm telling you, they're living vicariously through their kids. And they just need to understand that by the time you're 16, 15, 14, you're not going to remember 7, 8, 9. By the time you're 12, you're not going to remember 7, 8, 9.
I don't remember it.
No, you don't. Are you playing for a guy that's teaching your kid baseball?
I barely remember what I did in high school,
now,
dude.
I get the idea where you get to a certain point, you have to split the kids up. You have to put the kids that are better, playing against better teams.
Sure.
And the kids that aren't progressing as fast to play against their level of competition.
And I think
there's a spot to do that. And you have to do that.
Yeah.
For the kids, because nobody wants to be stuck in right field, left field at 9, 10, 11 years old on the best team, but I played 2 innings of this game and I hit last. Yeah. You're not getting better. Like, what are you getting out of it? Right. You're getting trophies. Cool. Well, you know what those are doing? They're collecting dust. And I can go buy you 10 of them for $10. Right? I'll give you a 1-cent China trophy. There you go.
Where's development? And I think that's the tough thing.
It's hard, man. I'm telling you, these ages, it's harder for me to coach 7, 8, 9 than it is to coach a 17U national team.
I believe that. I do believe that. And I want parents, and I understand, it's tough because I understand there are parents out there, and then there are parents that are reasonable, and there's always the mix, and you hope you don't have too many people who are unreasonable about things. And I think that's always the tough thing. But when you're looking at kids at that age, Matt, you have to at some point say, this is where, and a parents, listen to me. Here's a club director who deals with this at this level, and you've got to be able to trust the club. This is why I say this all the time. If you want to go play club baseball, you want to go try out for a baseball, have you talked to the director? Have you talked to the director of youth development? Because most clubs have somebody in that form. Have you gone to that person and said, what's your goals? What's your end goals with your players? What do you do? How does your program work? Are you vetting a program and then talking to the people that may be coaching that squad, asking questions and saying, oh my, I think that fits. And then trust that person has the best interest for your child. You've got to develop those relationships. We don't even do that anymore. And then the clubs are telling the people, you drop your kid off and get out of here. Well, that's wrong too, because that's their child, and you need to make sure that you're accountable to the parent as well, not because they need to come up and act crazy, but because they're investing that time and energy in what you're doing to help develop their child. And I think it has to be a mutual thought process.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. The best thing as a coach is whenever the kids get dropped off and the parents leave because they trust you.
I don't have a problem with that.
It's anytime that I've had my kids play a sport that I don't coach, which is all of them but baseball, it's gotten to a point where I do the same thing but I know them. I know who the coaches are now. I know what's going on, and I trust what they're doing, and
there you go.
My kids are safe. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
I agree. Absolutely. And I think it has to come to that. But I think both parties need to have some point where they communicate together. It doesn't need to be all the time. It doesn't. But if you're a good coach and you know that parent cares about their child, why not communicate with the parent?
I'll leave it at this. I tell all my kids that I don't care what you do, and even my own kids. I don't care if you play the cello. I don't care if you serve ice cream at Baskin-Robbins.
Yeah.
Be the greatest cello player. Be the greatest Baskin-Robbins ice cream server you can be, right?
Right.
Be the best you can be at whatever you're doing. And that way, there's no regrets for anything. Be the best baseball player you can be, the best soccer player, the best basketball player, whatever it is, whatever you are playing. And then if you don't like it, stop playing it. Or say, hey, I'm just going to play rec here and do this.
Absolutely.
But be the best you can be at it. Otherwise, why are you doing it?
I agree.
That's my thing. And so take it or leave it. But to wrap up your question about 7s and 8s, it's crazier than I thought.
I love that. And to that point, that's one of the reasons why I started doing this year, and I want people to be aware. We're pushing this out. We hope we get we're getting some response. It's slow to start right now, but I've got Tony Perkins, Mason Horn, Tim Canavan, Kevin Mulder, Darren Sissel, all coming to a dad's coaches clinic for dad coaches coaching the ages of 7 to 14. These are legit dudes, legitimate coaches coming to share their knowledge, opportunities to understand how to develop team. And it's no offense to clubs or anything like that. It's not anything like that. But I think, clubs are doing as much as they can in the middle of winter workouts. You're trying to develop teams and things like that. What can we do to help these guys understand what it takes to coach? And we're doing that December 9th and December 16th. I think it's a great opportunity for dads to come and listen to some of the top coaches in the state.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. You and I know each other.
Yeah.
I think I'm pretty level-headed in general
Yes,
with
you are.
the whole situation, right?
Yeah.
And there's not everybody can sit here and have these conversations that we have and be realistic about everything.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing I think that a lot of these people fall victim to is they're unrealistic. They're unrealistic about their team, their kid, their own coaching abilities. Because they think, well, we're hitting them ground balls, hitting them fly balls. This is great. Like, we're getting the work in. I'm like, yeah, but the footwork's awful.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't look the part. Like, they need to look the part. There's little things that you can learn from. And if I sit here next to Coach P and I, and even Mulder, because he coached, you learn from each other. And that's, I think, the hard-headedness with a lot of these guys is they're not willing to and be open-minded and learn from other coaches. Just because you compete against them on the diamond doesn't mean you can't learn from them.
I'll tell you.
I could teach Coach P something. He could teach me something. We both can teach Mulder something. He could teach us something.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's how you get better, and then therefore you make the kids better.
Because there's not much mystery to the game, is there?
No, but there's different ways of doing things.
Exactly.
Exactly. My first instinct, kid throwing 98. Wanted to quit baseball when he was 15. Went to this new guy. My first process was, what's the new guy teaching in Dallas? Like, what is he teaching? I want to know.
Yeah.
Because not only is he going there, these other 3 kids are going there too. And they're all went from 88 to 92, 93. So he's doing something right. No arm problems, nothing. And people are funneling their kids to him.
Wow.
So my first thought was, teach me.
Yes.
Like, literally teach me. So then I can make our kids better.
Right. Opportunities.
He doesn't do what we do. We're better. No. Teach me. What are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, when you see a good infielder, it's like, who'd you learn that from? Who's teaching you?
Yeah.
I want to learn. Like, I want to know what you're teaching them.
And especially if you've got in every age group, you see your infielders, these kids are standouts at every age level and they're working together. There's something going on there that needs to be shared out. And
Yeah.
I agree. If we are going to continue to grow, I think as parents, as coaches, as a community and whatnot, it is about the kids. It shouldn't be about us anyway. And we've all been guilty of those things, I think. At some point in time, we all get a little carried away. And, but
It's competitive nature.
it is. But if we'll step back from the situation, make sure we are focused on learning and helping our kids learn. And I think it would, what you were saying about getting better and whatnot, we go to a lot of youth tournaments. Yeah. We're around it a lot. And honestly, Matt, the biggest thing that I see, and you're talking about just fundamental things and things that just kind of go, wow, is I see all these 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, hate to say that, but can't play catch.
Yeah.
We're playing throw and chase.
Yeah.
And you see it. They go out. Okay, coach goes warm out. And the kid spends more time running the ball down back and forth and the throwing. And I watch this all the time. And I wonder, why can't these kids throw the baseball and hit somebody in the chest? Or at least within a radius that is catchable at 9, 10, 11. I think these are basic things. And this is one of the things that I talked with these coaches about, the high school coaches, and they were all in agreement. This is why I think, and then people, our team's great. Well, that's why you can't throw it to first base. That's why you don't get outs. And you understand, oh, well, it was the umpire. That was a call. No, I'm sorry. We have to come to an understanding of where the issues are, and if we're ever going to resolve them.
Yeah, and not to drag this out, but I think
I understand.
At some point you have to be a parent, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going to say, hey, I'm paying all this money for my kid to play baseball or soccer or basketball, because they're all expensive.
Yes.
We talk about baseball and how bad baseball is, but they're all just the same. My kids play multiple sports. I know how expensive they all are.
Right.
And at some point, I have to take my kid out back and teach him soccer on top of what he's learning at soccer practice. Just like the same, I got to take my kid out back and teach him how to play catch, just like he does at practice. That's the kicker. Instead of saying, hey, here's an iPad. Have fun.
Go play catch with your brother.
Right. I'm just,
Exactly.
How good do you want to be? How hard do you want to work?
What he said. I like that. Matt, it's good to see you, bud.
You too. Hey, baseball season's right around the corner, so me and Mulder will be here probably more often. I know, sorry.
Oh,
Mr. Producer's like,
yeah, we got Drew over there today.
yeah, Drew didn't know what he was getting in for, did he? He's
No.
got to get the bleep button out a few times. He's like, oh man, I didn't realize that Matt was walking in here.
Well, we keep it friendly. He
sorry.
knows that. It's all right. We'll work it
I was
out.
raised in an Italian household, man. That's what happens. Yeah.
Oh man, folks, thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. If you did, please hit the subscribe button, hit the like, comment below, share this out with your friends. Have the conversation. This is what this is about. That's why we started with YBMcast, because we felt these conversations were necessary. We're not telling you that this is bad. That we're just, here's where it is. This is what we have to talk about, and hopefully we can, as adults, come to resolutions and get better at helping our kids develop. So that's the point. Subscribe. Hit the dinger. That's what we do. It's always good to hit a dinger or two, right?
That's right.
As long if you don't give them up. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Everybody have a great day in the Lord. all you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. Hitters,
hit them where they ain't.
It's good advice. See y'all next time. We hope you enjoyed that today, folks. Opportunity to get some information. And two, Prime Sports Midwest. I know Rick's putting out a lot of demo videos with some of the best hitters around out there, giving their opinions on the bat after they swung it, what they're doing that way. So if you aren't following Prime Sports Midwest, do that. Facebook, Instagram, X. I think most of it's on Instagram. I think so. But Prime Sports MW, at Prime Sports MW on Instagram. I think it's Prime Sports MW on X. Prime Sports Midwest on Facebook. Go check those out. Go check out the videos. Get some great information. We put some out there as well. They've been sharing this out. A lot of fun. Go check it out. Learn more about these bats before you go buy one. And you can go demo it yourself. Might not have the size. I don't know. But if you go down to 1550 Ocello Drive, that's in Fenton, Missouri, in the Champions Village, Prime Sports Midwest is right there. And they do have bats. You can demo them there before you purchase. I think it's a great opportunity. So check that out. We appreciate Rick and Sal being partners with with Youth Baseball Midwest. I'm getting all confused here. We love it. We appreciate it very much. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Everybody have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, keep throwing strikes. And hitters, hit a couple dingers. If you can't hit a dinger, hit them where they ain't. We'll see y'all next time.